welcome to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're here to talk about what goes on in the village, the township. You know, those government entities, that they make laws and regulations that affect you out there.
That's right, Elgin. And whether you live in the village of Oxford, the village of Leonard, Addison Township, or Oxford Township, these are the people that you elected. And the commissions and the committees that make decisions that directly affect you, whether you chose to go to that important meeting or not. So don't be surprised if your taxes go up.
Right. Or other things might
other
happen.
things.
Yes, strange things that come back to catch you later. That's the part of the humor that we enjoy in this show, don't we?
Yeah.
You folks have to search for it somewhat, but it is there. And the other thing that we do sometimes is we make rumors. At least one of us does.
And I'll confirm them.
Occasionally, yeah. Okay, so pay attention. Here we go. We got a couple of meetings that we're going to talk about today. And the first one we're going to talk about is the Oxford Township Board of Trustees, which they just had last night. So, pretty interesting. Bill Dunn, of course, is the supervisor of the township, and he leads this kind of rough house groupie people.
Of which he is a member.
Of which I am. That's why I can talk about it like this, you see. Joe Ferrari is the treasurer of the township. Curtis Wright is a clerk. Does a great job, too, by the way. He's a very detailed guy, very analytical.
He is. Extremely.
Yep. And Joe, he watches the numbers as the treasurer and does a great job for the township and you folks out there as well. Patty Durr serves on that board as a trustee, and of course I do, as he just pointed out. And excused from this meeting was Jack Curtis, who's at a MTA meeting, which
What's that?
is Michigan Trustee Association meeting. It was held in Lansing, and most all the trustees from the state of Michigan, attend this once a year.
Did anybody else attend it that we know of?
Well, I was there for a little while.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I checked it out. There are a lot of things that go on there. For example, they talk about state legislation that's developing, bills that are pending, both in the House of Representatives and, of course, in the Senate level. So a lot of neat things going on, and people that are in government serving you need to know that these things may or may not happen down the line.
But they need to know that those trains could come down the track.
They do. If you see the smoke, chances are they'll be there. And the other person that had an excused absent was Margaret Payne, who sits on this board as well as a trustee. And she's out of town for a while, and I think on vacation. And while she was gone, I'm going to talk about later, but she was appointed to a position because she wasn't there.
See what happens, Marge?
Yeah, Margie will figure this out when she gets back. Anyway, so they had the respect to the flag, and which is part of the procedure. Approval of the agenda was given, and the public comments for those folks that had comments not involving the agenda for the evening.
On the agenda, right?
Yep, right.
Was there any?
There was.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, actually, the prosecutor from Oakland County gave a quick presentation. He said there's a couple of regulations that the township needs to be concerned with, and maybe making an ordinance concerning those. And one was the Oakland, Oakland ordinance request for police response, which is a bill that's going to be coming up.
What does that do?
I have no idea what it's going to do, other than it's going to help the police. And if it helps the police, I'm all for it.
Okie dokie.
Right. So anyway, the other one was something concerning the 52nd District Court. Impacts the way, I think, what they call them, tickets are handled, in court.
Citations.
That kind of thing. Citations,
like,
That, okay. See, now you notice this guy will chime in, just at the right time. Chime.
I filled those empty spots.
He does, okay. And the last thing that he wanted to talk about is the state is going to take a different position on how minors who are apprehended for drinking alcohol is going to be handled. Right now, they're kind of, like 90 days in jail or something along that line if they're caught. But
worse than that, if you're convicted of a DUI in the state of Michigan and probably elsewhere, you can't go to Canada at all. They'll turn you away at the border. They consider it a felony over there.
First, you have to ask yourselves, folks, why would I want to go to Canada?
Why
You
would
got
you want
such
to
a
get
beautiful area.
Hey, it's beautiful, but on the other hand, don't get a DUI.
Right. But and the judge and the prosecutor did say, that in terms of regulations and controlling alcohol and those various things within this area and drugs, that the township does a great job. And as a matter of fact, most of the cases that the police department has handled, about 100% of those cases have been solved.
Wonderful.
So he said, as far as your ordinances and so forth, they're even more stringent than what the state requires in a lot of cases. So, okay, good job out there, and keep you folks safe no matter what. Even if you don't want to be, you're going to be safe. Okay. Next thing was the fire department. He usually gives a report, but Pete Schultz, he was out of the area, so they didn't accept that report because there was none.
Okay.
Good reason. Okay. Any unfinished business at this point? Planning Commission resignation for Todd Bell. Remember the Todd left?
Yeah, and who replaced him?
Well, funny you should say, because the next thing on the agenda was the Planning Commission appointment.
Deja vu.
Yeah, right. And of course, they felt bad that Todd was leaving, and a few comments were made along that line. But then Bill Dunn, who appoints these various people to these various organizational groups, you know, like Planning Commission and ZBA and so forth, he recommended John Nold, N-O-L-D. And that's for the remainder of a 3-year term that Todd Bell would have served. So the expiration of that date of that particular position is going to be December 31st, 2017. So that's how long John will be serving. A few questions were asked of John. He has some really good credentials, background in terms of building, pulling permits, those kind of things. Lots of other things. He got a long list of things where he had involvement with the community and the township. So anyway, he was voted in, and he is going to be the newest member sitting on the Planning Commission for Oxford Township.
That's not the first time he's done that
Yep.
dance.
Hi, John. Good job.
There you go.
Okay.
Experience, we need it.
Right. Then there was unfinished business that they were going to talk about. And the unfinished business, remember we talked about the treatment of aquatic weeds? You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that was for, let me see, Cedar Lake, Long Lake, and Tan Lake.
And the associated SAD?
Yeah, and an SAD, Special Assessment District.
Right, well, good. See, I taught you a few things.
You did that, huh? Okay. Right. Anyway, SAD. Anyway, there was a problem with the SAD. In fact, that a number of people, residents came forward and they said, you know, when we signed the petition to do an SAD, we were not aware that there was going to be a yearly fee, you know, for the SAD, and we thought it was only the $50. And also, they wanted to know what plants it was actually going to eliminate and what areas were going to be covered. And some of the areas on the map were not areas that should have been considered, possibly. So anyway, to clean this all up, by the way, the township doesn't have responsibility. Usually the citizens will take up a petition and pretty much submit to the township as to what they want done.
The township gives them a cost,
and the township
that's it.
gives them a cost after engineering, and they go forward with
Now,
it.
is that allocated by how much footage they have on a particular lake, or is it just allocated evenly by the lot?
It can. It can be allocated by a number of people on the lake. It can be allocated by the amount of footage the individual has on the lake. Any number of those things, you know, could work under an SAD. But those are all things that you, the citizens, have to, you know, decide.
Negotiate and agree to.
Right, not with the township, because the township is there to implement it if you want to do it. They're not in pushing this thing at all. And so they wanted, since there was some question, a cloud hanging over this particular SAD, and by the way, they've handled other SADs, no problem at all.
Township will basically give you the total cost, and it's up to you to figure out how to split it.
Right. This has actually been the first time they've ever had this come up. So anyway, what they decided to do is, for reason of irregularities, they had a resolution that they would dissolve the previous resolution and declare this invalid. So they have to start all over. You folks want an SAD, will have to go door to door and work it out in terms of what you want and present it back to the township.
So like the old Crosby classes used to say, do it right the first time.
Do it right the first time. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome to American Legion in Oxford for the best fish on Fridays. That's right, from noon to 8:30. You can get the best walleye in Michigan. You can get walleye, baked cod, chicken strips, baked potatoes, and more. On the hall side of the Legion, oh, hello there, friends. You can have 12 friends on a table, any one of the best military museums in Michigan. And the dining side, oh, hello again. More comfortable with many 4-seat tables and a couple of 5-seaters. Now on Friday we usually have about 400 to 500 best friends for our fish. Carry out? You bet. We have 50 to 60 carryouts at the post. We have some young fins with the birthdays and some of our best seniors at the post. Oh yeah, waitresses, they go like a track waitress to get your food. If you have never enjoyed our secrets famous walleye at the Legion, come on in every Friday from noon to 8:30 at the American Legion Post 108 on 130 East Rainer Road, Oxford.
Welcome back to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we were just talking about the SAD, which came forward to the Oxford Township Board of Trustees, which was dissolved. And they're going to start over again.
Just like
for
the
those
weeds they
lakes.
were trying to get rid of.
Just like those weeds, yep. The other thing that came up was Board of Review appointment. They needed to have somebody for that board. And guess what?
What is a board of review?
Well, those are people that review your taxes. You know, if you think you're paying too much money for taxes, maybe the guy next door is paying $100 and you're paying $6,000. You might want to take that before the Board of Review and find out why that is. But come prepared when you do. Anyway, they need to have an appointment put on that board, and the appointment that they placed on there was Melvin Kreiderman. Buck.
Oh, Buck.
Okay, and he used to be involved in the Communications Commission and other boards.
Well, he was on
Pollyant Trail. And
He was on the board of trustees.
he was on the Board of Trustees, yep. And so we've all decided that he should be on this Board of Review. The only thing I would suggest is that when he get on that Board of Review, he dressed like a football player. Be prepared, right? Okay, Oxford Area Cable Communications alternate. They needed an alternate for that commission also. And Margaret Payne was out of town. They said, hey, let's put Margaret on this board. And Bill Dunn says, hey, I think that's a great idea. Let's go
Okay.
ahead. So we all voted and 100% agreed that Margaret, good, congratulations.
Another person on the team.
Well fought position. Okay, 2017 chloride contract. They did set a contract. There were a couple of bids in. The contract they decided to go with is the Oakland County Road Commission. And what it evolves is $392 per 1,000 linear square feet that they have to, you know.
How long does a chloride treatment last?
Usually you have to, depending on, you know, the road and the composition of the road, but if it's sand, it's going to be more often. But gravel, normally you're looking at maybe 2 times a summer, maybe 3 at the most.
Does keep the dust down.
But keep in mind too that there's more involved. Like the road commission, they'll also grade it when they go through. Any other company, normally they don't grade. So they just lay the salt. But so this is a good move for them to make, I think.
This covers all non-private roads?
Non-private roads, correct. If you're a private road, then you have to have an SAD.
Or do it yourself?
Or do it yourself. And it costs you a lot more money to do it yourself than it would be actually an SAD when it comes. Well, it depends how many people live on that road. If you're the only guy on that private road, then you have no choice. You're the one that's going to be paying for it. But let's say you have 12 or 13 people living on that road. Now, if you go in the SAD, that'll be divided up, and it won't cost you all that much money.
If you do it right.
If you do it right. Yeah.
The first time.
But if you go in the SAD, they'll have engineers that'll tell you how much you need to do.
Sure.
So all that comes into play. So anyway, that takes care of salt. Any other questions about salt?
No. Okay. That is calcium chloride.
It's calcium chloride, yep. And let me see, 2017 West Nile virus program. Remember they had one last year too.
Oh, Lord, yeah. Have we had any West Nile virus cases in the last year or so?
I don't know if anybody's ever traveled from the West Nile lately.
Well,
I don't think so.
not the people, it's those
Not
little
the people- oh, the
skeeters.
bugs. Boy, their little wings have to really flap to get over
Yeah.
here, don't they? Okay, anyway, there's several
Other
cases.
mosquitoes are going, you're not from around here, are you?
Not from around. Yeah, he's got a different accent than the other guys, right? Anyway, 11 cases of briquettes they wanted to order. And briquettes,
Oh, those are donuts, aren't they?
well, they're kind of like a donut. You put it in different ponds and water,
You add it to your gutters.
standing water.
Put it in your gutters.
No, actually, there's other materials you can use for that.
Oh, really?
That's more efficient. You could put it in gutter if you wanted to.
Well, yeah.
But it's first come, first serve. You folks out there that have a mosquito problem can get one of these little rascals or a few of them to last you. Each brick lasts roughly about 30 days. So if you think a mosquito is going to last longer than that, get a couple of them. But anyway, first come, first serve. Let me see. Each case contains 12.
I don't think we have any Zika out here yet, do we?
No Zikas I've seen.
I
What
see.
language do they speak?
Nice.
Zika?
The West Nile people don't understand them at all.
Can't understand the Zikas. I don't get them either. Anyway, there they are. Okay, and then another material they have is Natural, or something like that. Natuloar. Is another material, and this material comes in packets, and it's got 60-day life expectancy on it. You use that in gardens, ponds,
Well, there's
bird
probably
baths.
there's
Do you have bird
probably
baths?
a prime time in the late spring, early summer, whatever, that mosquitoes will.
Well, this
tend
is
to
to kill off
repopulate.
larvae.
That's what I mean.
Not-
They're-
you don't want
get
the-
them. You get them in their reproductive cycle.
Oh yeah, when they're the size of bumblebees, there's not much you can do with
Well,
them.
no. With meat hooks on them.
Flamethrower. Are they allowed to use flamethrowers? I don't think they are. Anyway,
Little Fluffy was here just a while ago.
Fluffy.
Where did they go?
a coyote took them. I don't know. They're having problems with coyotes too, I guess. But anyway, not in Oxford. Anyway, some municipalities are having trouble with coyotes. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, whole different subject. Fluffy disappeared.
The coyotes have a problem. I hear there's a wolf problem going out too.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah.
Well, that's another story. We'll have to talk about this at some point. Maybe we should do it now. No, we'll do
No,
it
no,
later.
no, do it
Okay.
later.
Anyway, also they wanted to order 30 cases of 1 ounce size pump spray. And you're probably wondering what that is.
I wonder what that is.
Okay. That's a repellent, which during the celebration, Seymour celebration, they give these out, to various workers and so forth, keep the critters away.
Oh yeah.
Big nasty. By that time, they're bumblebees, just about the size. So you want to.
If you're setting off fireworks, you don't want to be swatting.
Right. Well, this whole package came down to roughly $3,820.11. But that's the bad news. The good news is $3,820.11 is
They cut out
paid
the
by
11 cents and gave them a deal.
No, actually, Oakland County
Oh.
has a prevention grant,
Oh.
which covers the bulk of what we're talking about here.
Good.
So, good deal. Oakland County. We got to stay close to them, don't we? Well, we have no choice.
We're part of them.
Right. Okay. 2017 Safety Path and Cemetery Paving Project. Actually, an agreement was awarded, to take care of the paving and so forth for that. So that pretty much covers the Oxford Township Trustees Board meeting.
Wonderful.
Did you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay,
You covered
that's
it
good.
rather well.
Oh, really? All right. What I didn't cover, you did. Anyway, let's talk about the Oxford Village Council meeting that came up, and that came up actually April 11th, which is 2 days ago. And Sue Bassarded is the chairperson for that, and the president. Tom Kinnis serves on that board. Let me see. We changed his name to Dave or Fred or John.
Yeah.
Tom
He was
Kinnis. Hi.
2 weeks ago. He was Dave. Now he's Tom. It's
Yeah, right. Well, you keep him moving, he's hard to catch.
Sorry
anyhow,
about that, Tom.
Eric Dolan serves on that board as well, and Maureen Helmuth, and Dave Bailey. Sue Nasser is kind of taking on the responsibility of the village manager, but she's not the village manager.
Right.
And she was there to record this. And she did a quick report on the end of this as to the state of the village. With that, we'll be back right after this, folks. Welcome back to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we are now talking about the Oxford Village Council meeting that occurred just the other day. And they did the pledge, of course, got all the preliminaries out of the way. They agreed to the agenda, except for, I think they did shuffle a few things around on the agenda, though, before they made the agreement. 2 things were done away with on this particular meeting and postponed until a future meeting.
As is their option.
Right. And 1 meeting was actually transferred to the Planning Commission because it has to do with the Planning Commission.
Okay.
So, anyway, that'll shorten this meeting, won't it? Okay. Maybe not.
So you hoped.
Right. So then they said, well, was there a public hearing? Well, no public hearing. See, I'm telling you, it's getting shorter and shorter. Public comment? None. Everybody looked at their shoes and there were people there, though. Quite a few people.
Oh.
Matter of fact, what was interesting is at the very beginning, the Holy Cross Church minister, and his name escapes me right now, but anyway, a very nice gentleman. He does usually a prayer at the beginning of this particular meeting.
I think Joe Young used to at the...
Joe did for Pollyant Trail or some others too.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Okay, you're right.
But they have a full-fledged, honest-to-goodness minister for this one.
All right.
And he's a pretty nice fellow. And he let everybody know that his father had just passed away unexpectedly. So,
Condolences.
to you out there. And he did say that, even though things look tough, that there's something better beyond. So
The sun will come out tomorrow?
the sun will come out tomorrow. Do you want to sing that one? Or?
No.
Okay, we won't do that. Anyway, down the line here, a few people, they said public comment. They did have a few people did step up, even though I said there wasn't. There's Rick Moorhead, and he spoke. He's the commander of the American Legion, Post 108. And he said, for past years, he said during memorial services, he said at the Centennial Park, the village agreed to set up amplifiers and sound system, for us. And he just wanted to know if they were going to do that this year. Susan Nasser said that there isn't anybody that really understands how to set it up in the village. That could be a problem, but that they'll be getting back to them on it. Might be a good time for Post 108 to have somebody learn how to do that.
Yeah,
if they're going to do it.
I think Joe Young used to do it himself.
Joe Young used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
I used to see him there often. He'd be testing the system and so forth. And
That's like anything else. When you leave a job, you should have documentation for the next guy.
well, that's something that I don't think was even documented before Joe got there. I think it was kind of
an informal little thing.
Yeah,
to
he
do.
just jumped in and did whatever was necessary to get it done and get it moving. But so anyway, they'll learn too. There'll be somebody that'll raise their hand and say, "I'll volunteer, I'll do it," and they'll be on there for the next 100 years.
Yep. As volunteers
As
are always.
volunteers always are. Yep. Stephanie Potter, she stood up and she said, "I'd like to compliment the council in the direction that they've been taking. I know that there's a lot of probably negative things that are being said about the council and so forth, but she says, I'm all for it, and so are a lot of other community people. So we're behind you in making these decisions. We know it's going to be a tough time ahead." So
That's kind of generic.
it is kind of generic. It was generic, definitely all the way. Then Chris Pease spoke up. He said, it was kind of a humorous thing, actually. He said, horses and police officers riding horses. He said, why not dogs? He said, dogs don't have big poop all over the place. And by the way, when did you see an officer get off and clean his mess? And this went on for about 3 minutes because they were limited to 3
I think
minutes.
they should have guard cats. They have little
Dog
sand
cats.
boxes. They're really neat.
They bring their sandboxes along behind them. So anyway, it was rather humorous. And if you want to see more, you can go to Oxford Community Television, OCCTV.org, and check it out. It's going to be on there. Anyway, Chris Pease then stepped aside. Bill Dunn spoke then. Bill, the supervisor of the township, was there. And he wanted to make sure that they were aware, the village, that when they do the emergency hookup, when they run the new water line down Lakeville Road and so forth, and across the school, that they would connect to the village free, no cost, including the engineering and everything involved. There has to be an agreement provided, though, between the village and the township, and that has already been negotiated between Bob Davis, the village attorney, and the township.
Well, the township is
attorney.
also running a line out into the big trailer park out there, aren't they?
Well, that's the one I'm talking about, yes.
Okay, all right.
Pretty expensive venture, but it's got to be done because there's 2 of their wells I think have failed out there. So, can you say I have no water? So, and all this is going to drip, drip. There it is. Okay. Have to squeeze the leaves when it rains. Bills, $41,268.73. Excuse me, and they were approved. Of course, they have to be approved. Otherwise, you have people knocking at your door, and they leave litters of wolves at your left behind, right? Unfinished business. Bob Davis, he said he reviewed the village administrative issues that they've had since the village manager has left, because of course there's no village manager, so you have to make sure things are going to run smooth. And he said that currently they have 7 resumes for who want to be village manager. He said so they're in the process of reviewing that now.
The village council is?
Village council. Well, actually the attorney, and I think there's a committee that's working on that.
Oh.
You know, and doing the interview.
So
and
eventually
forth.
these guys go into an open meeting and be interviewed, right?
Yeah, usually it's an open meeting. They don't have closed meetings,
Right.
as a rule. The clerk position, of course, Susan Nasser has indicated she's going to be leaving, and she's sticking to that acclamation. So they now
End of June?
no, it's going to be in March, I believe, end of March sometime.
That's already
April,
passed.
May, June. It is June. Yeah, it would be June.
Okay.
Yeah, end of June probably. And if they could twist her arm, she'd probably stay longer. I don't think she wants to.
No, but she's a very dedicated person.
She is very dedicated, and I mean, she has a good grip on what goes on in the village. Of course, she's been there for a few years, so she actually pointed out that her staff has done a great job, and she said it hasn't been without some grief along the way.
Weeping and gnashing in
Yes.
the valley of tears.
But she said they've made it through the woods and they can see the light. I hope it's not a freight train coming the other direction. It's the only
Well, they
thing.
still got the budget hanging over their heads, don't they?
Well, they did the budget not long ago.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Well, with that, let me see. What else are they doing? Okay. Oh, I did want to mention. We mentioned, I mentioned last time that June 3rd and 4th, the Tough Mudders is going on, but I also said that Seymour Lake had a tournament going on, and I said it was, soccer. It's not. It's lacrosse. So if you folks bring your soccer ball, bring a stick with it, because you're going to need it. Lacrosse. Okay, with that, what's going on?
Well, we do have meetings on April 18th at 7 o'clock, the Village of Oxford Planning Commission. Also at 7 o'clock, the Addison Township Public Library Board will be meeting. And on 4/19 at 3 o'clock, the Pollyant Trail Management Council will be meeting. And that will be held in the Village of Oxford offices. And on 4/20 at 4:30, NOTA, North Oakland Transportation Authority, will be meeting in Orion Township offices. They float around. And also on 4/20 at 7 o'clock, the Village of Leonard Planning Commission. And finally, on 4/24, the OACCC,
Again.
Oxford Area Cable Communications Commission, will be meeting in the same place they've always met, the Village of Oxford offices.
Well, that comes almost as fast as Fridays do. You ever notice that? Okay, I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we'll catch you next time right here on Minutes by Minute.
See you then.